Okay guys, so I have some news about some buffs and nerfs that are coming to Mech Arena. There are 6 buffs and nerfs to weapons. So I'm just going to start off by telling you exactly what each of these are. So first off, we have the buffs. These are coming to chain gun, minigun, nade launcher, and cryo launcher. So our 2 newest weapon categories, heavy duty and barrage, are both getting most of their weapons buffed. So these are just straight damage buffs, ranging from like I think 20 to like 6%, like, so you know, some significant. I think the biggest one is the chain gun. Obviously we know it's very weak right now, but it's going to be buffed, so it's going to be a lot better. Minigun is receiving a small buff, and then nade and cryo are receiving, I think, kind of medium buffs. So these are all fine. I think minigun is pretty strong, and this will make it a little bit stronger. Chain gun obviously needed it. Like I was saying, chain gun was very weak, and with this buff, 20% damage, very significant, because then it stacks onto the pilot and stuff. So hopefully chain gun will be usable after this. I wouldn't think it's going to be that great, because it still has the build up, which is, you know, kind of just a killer of any weapon, because it basically means you don't deal damage in a burst. It's just sustained, which it in general isn't going to be good, but you know, at least it's giving chain gun some love that it's needed desperately ever since it was released. Nade launcher, cryo launcher, they could both, I suppose they could both use some buffs, but you know, they're kind of just, you know, it's fine. I think carbine could have used a buff here. I don't know why like nade launcher or cryo launcher was buffed before carbine, but hey, it's, you know, it is what it is. I would say all of those 4 are good. Next up, we have the nerfs, which are coming to arc torrent and disc launcher. Now these are more popular weapons than the previous 4, and I know that a lot of people are frustrated about it, because you know, they're the weapons they use in the hangar, and if they're getting nerfed, you know, it is frustrating to have to change your builds, and whatever you've invested in, it might, you know, if you use either of those weapons, which pretty much everyone uses discs, and you know, lots of people use arcs. So anyways, the arc torrents are going to lose some of the range that they gain while you rank them up. So the range would start at like 30 meters at a lower rank, and then I think it goes up to like 40 or something when you rank them up. But now it's just going to be 30. With the implant, the damage fall off or they're adding damage fall off. There isn't any damage fall off right now. They're adding it in as part of this nerf. So if you use an implant, the range extended beyond that normal 30 at all ranks will have damage fall off. So basically it means that in arcs before, I mean, could reach up to 66 meters. They'll reach less. They'll still reach pretty far, but less than they used to. And then the damage is going to be decreased at farther ranges. So basically, you know, right now, before the nerf, they're kind of a longer range close quarters weapon with a little bit less damage at endgame. They actually don't have quite enough damage to, you know, beat, like, ember guns obviously are better, and fragment guns, you know, are arguably better, because the DPS of both of those shotguns is better than arcs. But at all other stages, they are pretty strong. But you know, so I think that this arc torrent nerf wasn't really necessary. I mean, it makes some sense, but I feel like arc torrents were kind of a slightly less damage, but you know, you have less damage but more range, and I feel like that was, you know, I feel like they had their place. They weren't the most popular. Ember guns are the best close quarters weapon, and nerfing arcs just kind of means that embers are, you know, even stronger in the close quarters area, you know, area of weapons. So, you know, I don't feel like this was necessary, but it's, you know, it is what it is. It's okay as well. It's not like a bad nerf. And then lastly, the super important one, obviously we have disc launchers. You know, at least arguably the strongest weapon in the game. EMs, railguns, and disc launchers are the strongest 3 in the game right now. And they're all, honestly, they're too strong. The issue with this nerf is that when we're nerfing discs, it means that the 2 other strongest weapons, being railguns and EM rifles, are essentially getting buffed, because now disc launcher can't fight back against them. So, you know, it's good because disc launchers are too strong, but we need nerfs for these other sniper weapons, right? But, you know, so basically the disc launcher nerf, disc launchers will deal less damage at farther away, so once they go out of their optimal range, they'll start losing damage. And the radius of disc launchers can no longer deal back or side damage. So the damage, you know, you would splash discs, you can still splash them, okay? Don't get me wrong, discs have the same radius, okay? But they can't deal side or back damage. Meaning, you know, essentially their damage is reduced. Disc launcher damage is fine, but when you use the back damage, it gets to be insane, where, you know, 2 or 3 shots, lots of mechs, you know, it's crazy. You all know how powerful the disc launcher is, right? So And then lastly, so imagine you fire a disc launcher at a wall. It hits the wall, and then there's a radius of the, however many meters it is, 10 or 12 or however many you have with your implant or without. And the farther away you get from the center of the impact where the actual disc landed, the less damage it will deal. So if I have a maxed out radius implant and I hit someone who's at the very edge of that radius, it's going to do a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of damage, almost none, right? Actually, I shouldn't say that. We don't know how severe this is. Sorry, it is not known, right? So basically, we don't know how severe the nerf here is. If it's very severe, it could cause problems, but if I were to say, I think it'll be a good nerf. I know that it is frustrating to have your discs nerfed. I'm not happy about that part, myself, but at the end of the day, things do need to be rebalanced, and after 2 years of disc launcher being one of the top weapons in the game, I mean, ever since their release, they have been one of the best, and now they're finally being nerfed to a reasonable level. Again, we don't know exactly, but they're being nerfed from, super OP top meta to hopefully, I would hope they stay a bit stronger than some other legendaries. They're kind of our anti-camper weapon, right? But the main issue is that the two other stronger weapons, being railguns and EMs, are now, their style is powerful. They're not getting nerfed. Now we had the EM nerf, so railguns are going to be the best weapon in the game now, for a while. If railguns receive a nerf, then maybe we'll go back to more balance. But after disc launchers get nerfed here, the railguns are going to be super, super powerful. They already are, but discs aren't going to be able to splash them and stuff like that. So very interesting. These are huge, massive changes. Another thing, so a lot of people are saying, well, this is nerfing and buffing just like War Robots. This is not like War Robots, okay? It is not. War Robots nerfs and buff stuff every month. They nerf all the old items and buff all the new items that aren't good enough, or release the new items in an absolute OP, incredibly powerful state, where if you don't have the new items, you can't compete against them, right? That is not the case for Mech Arena. The new mechs, none of them are brokenly overpowered, okay? Seeker is powerful, yes. Seeker is strong, but it is not, the counter to all mechs. It has counters. It can be killed, It's strong, yes, and it's hard to counter, but if you work together with your team, it can be killed, when it teleports onto you, right? It's a risk for Seeker. Vortex, here, I'm using it right here in this footage. It's not OP, it's strong. I know that people don't say Vortex is OP as much, but I'm just stating it's not OP. It's balanced, right? Hemlock, it's not OP. Yeah, its ability is strong, but it's certainly not overpowered, right? There hasn't been a mech. I mean, the last mech that was truly overpowered was probably Stalker, but that was a long time ago. A lot of you probably didn't even play with that, but Stalker disc launchers, it was super powerful. Stalker had insane stats, but it wasn't like if you have Stalker you win. It was never like that. It helped, certainly. Maybe having Seeker will help you win more, but it's not like you have to have it like War Robots. And there aren't nerfs and buffs every month or every couple weeks like War Robots has. I mean, the War Robots stuff is ridiculous. I don't know how many of you have seen it recently. I mean, it's outrageous. There hasn't been... When was the last time we had nerfs or buffs in Mech Arena? Like months ago. And these are only a few, right? It's not like... What they'll do in War Robots, they'll take every robot released in the last year that are all, like, decent, right? Because they're newer. And a lot of people have them. They'll nerf all of them, so now they're all just bad. And then you have to buy the new stuff. That's basically what they'll do. The new meta comes around, the new items you gotta spend, or you don't have the good stuff. That's not what Mech Arena is doing. Every game has rebalances. Every single game does this, okay? People need to understand, like, this is a normal thing for games to do, and I think all of these nerfs and buffs are in general pretty good. None of them are unfair, none of them are excessive, unless, we don't know the disc launcher or arc torrent totally exactly what it's going to be like. We don't know how much the damage fall off or radius fall off is going to be, but I don't think it'll be unreasonable. And disc launchers were OP. They are OP, rather. The nerfs aren't, in place yet. Disc launcher is OP, and now hopefully it won't be. It'll be at a balanced level. So yeah. So at the end of the day, guys, don't draw conclusions right now. That's the most important thing. I mean, I've heard people saying, I'm taking out my disc launchers, I'm removing the implants. Don't do that yet. We don't know exactly what the nerf will do to it, okay? Same with arc torrents. Don't freak out about this, okay? It's not The only ones we understand fully are the buffs, because they're all just damage buffs. We can see the numbers have been posted. I'm not going to show them to you guys, but you know, you can go find them. I think they're in the game. I think they're in Mech Arena. I don't remember, but you know, but for the two nerfs, don't freak out, just wait, okay? Have patience, don't change your builds and stuff, alright? We don't know how severe they're going to be. It might be a slight nerf. Think about the EM rifle nerf. It was 20% less double damage chance at max, and they lost the auto targeting, which is kind of, you know, in some ways it's a nerf, but it's also a buff in some ways, because now you can snipe people more accurately. Like if they're part of their hitbox is out of cover, right, you can now snipe that, you know. So it's like, you know, it's not even necessarily a nerf in that sense. It's a change, right? There could be a trade-off. You could say Stalker now doesn't receive healing, but it does receive a damage boost. It's a trade-off, right? Something like that. And I'm not saying that's happening for the Disc Launcher Arc Torrent nerf, but you just got to remember that that nerf was not severe to EMs, but it was still successful. EMs are not as powerful as they used to be. They're less used. People have learned, I mean, the delay really does allow you to dodge them pretty well. I would say EMs are still too powerful. They should receive some kind of nerf if we're going to be nerfing other meta weapons like Railgun and Disc Launcher. Obviously, Railgun isn't receiving a nerf yet. I do hope it does, because it is now the strongest weapon. It does need a nerf. But at the end of the day, guys, don't draw conclusions. Just wait it out. Let's see exactly what this is before we decide what we want to do with our hangers. I mean, don't freak out about this, okay? It's just an announcement. It's not the end of the game, you know, whatever. Another thing, though, I do think it would be reasonable. This is a suggestion I've seen, and I think it's a really great idea. Since we're nerfing some items and buffing some items, I think it would be reasonable to bring back the implant removal discount. Probably as a modifier, maybe for a week or two. Maybe not even a full discount, maybe 50, 70, 80%, you know, something, not like a 30%. Well, that's what it is normally, right? It's 30% you get back. So I don't know. We should I think it is very reasonable for us to receive that as a modifier, because when these weapons are being changed, I think that it is, you know, we should allow players to, you know, change their implants basically without losing a ton. Like, I have 2 pilots filled with Disc Launcher implants, so I mean, you know, it would cost me a lot of implant parts to change those, and I don't know if I'm going to change them because I don't know how strong DLs are going to be. But if they are really weak for some reason, I will want to change them, and I'll lose those implant parts. So I think it's reasonable to have a modifier like this. But that's the main things for today. Just, you know, we have some big changes coming, specifically the Disc Launcher nerf. It's going to change a lot of things. I think that discs will still be strong. I think that they'll just be at more of a reasonable level. You know, the back damage and side damage, just cancellation seems a bit strange to me. I feel like just a straight up damage nerf would have made more sense, because now splashing discs to the back is just the same as just shooting them. So I mean, I don't know, it's interesting, but we'll see how it goes. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video. Comment your thoughts down below, please. I will read your comments. I'll try to respond. I really want to see what you guys have to say. Comment, you know, any of your thoughts about this video. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.